You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks and Peter Kapar of Pete Trees Workshop. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media platforms.
Welcome to episode 198 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we're joined by another talented woodworker, all-around maker, and not to mention one of my favorite creators to follow. He's quite a bit reserved and quiet, but don't let that fool you. He's one of the funniest and nicest dudes you will ever meet. He's also the most successful maker when it comes to getting your family involved, which a lot of us kind of fail at in our content. Now, if you're feeling chills because our guest is electrifying, and if you are wondering if he can do it, I assure you, Frank does it. Frank Beatty's here. Woo!
Hey guys,
What's up, buddy?
thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you for being here.
Frank certainly does it.
He does do it. He do be doing it. You know
What
who
is
else
it?
do be doing it, Dan?
Our patrons do be doing it. Doobie. And I should have been
Oh, you didn't cue it up.
ready.
Frank, I swear we know what we're doing.
But you know how
Unlike
it goes.
you, we don't do it.
I do it occasionally.
Yeah, Dan's just he's sorting the list, and it's taking a while because the list is so long. That's
It's super long. It's super long.
ones of patrons deep.
Why do they gotta change this? I feel like they changed it on me. Here we go.
got it?
All lives.
Did he get? Is you reading?
I'm working on it. Hey!
Oh my god!
We have 2 new patrons.
Oh snap!
I may have said this other patron last week, but hey,
Get a
I'll
double.
give him a free shout out.
That's the thing you could win when you sign up as a patron.
That is
2 weeks in a row.
correct, because sometimes Dan forgets. And by sometimes, I mean all the time. Yes, we have 2 new patrons, Henry Lutens and Joel Balestra. Did I say Joel's name last week?
I'm not
Does
sure.
that ring a bell?
I don't know. It might ring a bell because I read the name earlier.
Perhaps.
Doesn't matter. Welcome to the family. Or
Welcome to the Meh Army.
I was trying to say family and meh at the same time.
Yes.
Family.
And so we like to give those folks a shout out when they join the Meh Army, and we like to give our VIP patrons a shout out every week because they go above and beyond for us, and we really appreciate them. Those folks are as follows: Henry Lutens, Scotty Holland with Elevated Wood Design, Charlie Coons of Stubby K Studio, Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks, Jesse McIntyre from Sage Hill Woodcraft, Michael at Gillette Woodworks, Pete's Little Bug. That's a new one. Patrick.
Oh my
Ginsel
god, Dan, pause. We got to start fresh.
Why?
I had
Did
the
we
audio
lose?
routed. No, I had the audio routed through the from the pre-show. My audio is picking up everything you're saying.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Frank.
That's
I
okay.
swear we have done this before.
Who is Pete's Little Bug? All right. Everybody stop your
So yeah,
recording
stop
and
it.
delete.
Which is fine. We won't have to stall as long for the new patrons.
Yeah.
All right, let's so just
Delete everything.
hit
We'll
that
just start
exit.
over.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just noticed that you're coming through on my end on this audio. Mic check 1 2 check. Dan, say something.
Something.
Okay, yeah, you're not.
Oh,
Coming
that
through.
was disgusting. Okay.
You good?
Cool.
All right. Sorry about that, Frank.
You're good.
Okay, yeah, you're not. Okay, yeah, you're not coming through. That's my okay. Sorry, that's my audio. Cool.
I thought maybe Frank froze and we lost him or something.
No, Frank's just very stoic. Here he is. Let me pull this up again.
All right, you got to act surprised when you hear the intro for you.
Sounds good.
All right. You want a 3, 2, 1 us, Dan?
Yes. Everybody's ready?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Record. All right, we got it.
Yeah, we got it. And I don't hear you on my thing.
Okay, good.
All right, let's go right into it.
You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks and Peter Kapar of Beatty's Workshop. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media platforms.
Welcome to episode 198 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we are joined by a talented woodworker and an all-around maker, and not to mention one of my favorite creators to follow. He might be quite reserved and stoic, but don't let that fool you. He's one of the funniest and nicest dudes you will ever meet. He's also the most successful maker when it comes to getting your whole family involved in his content, which we all desperately fail at. But if you're feeling chills, it's because our guest is electrifying. And if you're wondering if he can do it, I assure you that Frank does it. Frank Beatty's here. Woo!
Hey, thanks, guys.
What's up,
Thanks
bud?
for having me on, man.
Frank can certainly do it.
And he is electrifying, and I'm losing control.
I mean, I'll do it.
It's Grease, I think, or Footloose, one of those.
What's that? I've never heard of it.
It's when a man loves a car. That's the best way I can describe the movie. But speaking of men loving cars, Dan.
I assume you're talking about our patrons.
Yes.
Yes.
You couldn't pick that up from my subtle.
I don't know why. But we got 2 new patrons this week, I believe. I may have said this name last week, but my memory is so bad. I don't know if you guys know
That's the beauty of
this.
signing up as a patron. You can get a double read. Like, what other podcast will do that?
Well, probably any podcast that has somebody as old as me reading the patrons probably would be my guess. I don't know.
Like the Bad Memory podcast that's still on episode 1 after a year. Let's see.
What's the 51st dates of podcasts? Our 2 new patrons are Henry Lutens and Joel Balestra.
Wow, I love those guys already.
Balestra. Hey, we're just happy you guys are along for the ride. If that sounds like something you want to help us out in, we encourage you to go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast, because then if you do that, you get a chance for me to say your name and forget it and say it possibly twice or 3
along
times.
with other great benefits that are listed
along
on
with other great
Patreon
benefits
at different tiers. So
we also like to
support the
give
show.
a shout out to our VIP patrons who go above and beyond every week, and bless your souls. You really help us out a lot.
Bless your heart.
And the VIP patrons are as follows: Henry Lutens.
Woo.
He's one of our new ones.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I forgot to click the button. Son of a bee. I should have been more ready, but I was even less readier. This is definitely the first time.
Good thing this isn't a second take of this podcast.
Henry Lutens, Scotty Holland with Elevated Wood Design, Charlie Coons at Stubby K Studio, Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks, Jesse McIntyre from Sage Hill Woodcraft, Michael at Gillette Woodworks, Pete's Little Bug. Is that Nick Brim?
I'll show you when you're older.
No, that's not Nick Brim. Patrick Gensel. Wait a minute. I see what's going on.
Did they
here.
mix up their names to mess with us?
Yeah. Patrick Gensel from Nick Brim Woodworking. Max Reed and not Alyssa at Reed Design Co. Matt Maynard at Patriotic Pines of North Carolina. Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking. Malcolm at Boston of Woodworks. Justin Addy at Calvary Customs. Knit Brim at Patrick Gensel. Wait a minute. Scott Shirk at Red Lake Custom Woodworks,
Daddy.
Max and Mindy Coons at WK Studio, and Justin Bailey at Campfire Woodworks. Okay, so the question remains then, who is Pete's little bug?
Don't worry about it. I'll show you when you're older. But isn't that a great benefit that our top tier patrons have where they could change their handle every week and we have to read it? Wow.
And
I hope
they're
nobody
trolling
uses
you.
that information for evil.
Oh yeah, there's a couple trolls in there for sure, and I guess I have to like them.
Knit brim.
Nip bring.
So anyways, like I said before, those are our VIP patrons. They go above and beyond. If you want to help us out in any way, you can go over to patreon.com/another woodshop podcast and help us out over there. We got a couple tiers you can sign up for. VIP is being one of them, but we have other ones. So go give it a look, would you please?
Fun fact, the P in VIP stands for Peter.
Does it though?
Yeah, so
The
anyways,
V
our
stands
guest
for
is
Vaniel.
Vaniel. So our guest today is Frank, best known as Frank Does It, because he does do it. And like I said in the intro, despite being you're kind of a stoic dude, but you're I used to be intimidated by you, and then I got to talk to you like this dude is hilarious and he's funny and he's nice, and always enjoy the content. I love all the content you do with your kids. But for those of our listeners that have never heard of you because they're insane or they're never on the internet, give us the elevator pitch. Who the hell do you think you are?
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. So, first of all, the I in VIP was done by Frank, but so basically, I'm an Army veteran. I'm a father of four. I've been married to my beautiful wife 18 years, and I'm a journeyman lineman by trade, and I do content creation and woodworking DIY on the side, and I have a lot of fun doing it and have a lot of fun getting my family involved, and I try to make some comedy videos too, so I just kind of try to dabble in a lot of different things.
I don't know like what's more dangerous, like the high like high voltage electricity that you work with, the Army service you had, or the fact that you have 4 kids.
I think it's
Like,
the 4 kids.
You've put in your time, man, on all of those.
Yeah. Yep, I've had an eventful life, that's for sure.
Yeah, right on. We were kind of getting into it a little bit in the pre-show, and you were laying down some really cool info about like where it's led you. But let's talk about like how it all started. So, I mean, obviously you were in the Army, then you went did your you started I guess training for a linesman. You're now a journeyman, which is I learned the top tier. You're the guy, right?
Yeah.
But how did it all start? Like, how did woodworking come into that? Like, how did the shop start? Like, what was the beginning? What was the catalyst that got you going?
So I think kind of the line trade, and I don't know, I think maybe it's just my can-do attitude that I've had my whole life that kind of started it. But the thing that started it firsthand was, my wife and I were married for quite some time, and we were sleeping on a mattress on top of a metal bed frame, and she always wanted a nice bed. And I was like, I got to looking at prices of beds and things like that, and I'm like, that's crazy expensive. I'm a lineman, I can figure out how to do it, right? And so then I just kind of started watching YouTube videos and things like that, and kind of basically taught myself how to woodwork. And then I kind of got addicted to woodworking. I did woodworking in high school, like in wood shop, and I enjoyed it back then, but I never really did it until I just kind of got like focused on like fixing things myself, doing things myself, and the bunk beds was the catalyst that kind of launched me into woodworking, and I just fell in love with it.
So you and your wife slept in bunk beds?
No,
It was for the kids, right? It was for the kids, guys.
it was for the kids.
You know, it's
It
so
was for the
funny.
kids.
You made me laugh a little bit when you were like, we were sleeping on this metal frame, and I remember like growing up, like sleeping on metal bed frames, and if
Yeah,
it had a headboard and bottom, what's the bottom part called?
The footboard.
Footboard, sure. If it had that, like that was fancy. And then I learned that like we just weren't wealthy. We just left them like metal frames, just like with like the baseline. But then if you like care, you can get something nicer.
Right.
Well,
That's awesome.
that beat what we slept on as kids. We just had sleeping bags on the floor. Like that was a joke, you guys. You're not
Well,
supposed
yeah,
to be
no,
like, oh
that's
god, no, that's
Poor
so sad."
Daniel.
Back
Oh.
in Mother Poland, I slept on a couch that folded out to be a flat bed. So
No,
I'm like,
it's funny that you have that story though, because I was just thinking to myself, oh, that's so expensive. Well, I'll just buy a whole garage shop worth of tools to do it. That'll be cheaper. That'll show them.
it was like the Spagnola when he did the $30,000 spoon video. It was just like he like went to the store and his wife was like, "Oh, this is a nice spoon." He's like, "I can make that," and then he just broke down what every tool cost that he used to make the spoon, and it was like 30K because it's all the tools in a shop. It's like that. But we showed them, guys. We built a bed frame.
We did.
So did you start with like basic tools, or did you kind of jump into it? Because some of us kind of jump into it and just like, you know what? What's 15 grand? I got
Heck with it, head first.
Yeah, let me buy a saw stop out of the gate. How did your thing start?
I started pretty budget. Because I wasn't planning on like doing this, right? So I think I used a Harbor Freight miter saw, which was a piece of crap. And then I had actually in my shop I used the Craftsman, the new Craftsman, not the nice Craftsman from back when our grandparents were around, table saw. And
Craftsman.
My first table saw was a Craftsman as well.
And I bet it was probably a nice one.
No,
was
it
from
was
our
a
era?
finger eating champion. Like I was scared to death of that thing.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think I was probably less than $1,500 into tools when I made that first bed.
You know, that would make a good video.
Yeah.
Starting your
would've.
shop for $1,500.
Yeah. I wish I was recording back then, but I wasn't.
Well, you
So-
are now.
Well, that leads me to my question. How did you go from that to like content creation and, what you're doing these days?
Yeah, so like I learned how to do that from YouTube. I learned how to fix my cars from YouTube. So basically, like my first YouTube video was me changing out the shocks on a 89 Toyota pickup because I wanted to change the shocks out on my old Toyota pickup that I had, and there was no videos showing me how to do it. So I'm like, oh, that's what YouTube's for, is to like help people do stuff. So let me film me actually like screwing around with this thing, and I'll figure out how to do it myself, and I'll make a video about it. Well, then it got like 28,000 views, and so I was like, oh, that's pretty
Nice.
cool. Like I'm getting
That's
views
good.
on this,
That's shocking.
right?
Oh,
Shocks.
It's a shock, like Bilstein shocking.
Don't
But,
leave me in suspense. Suspension.
have you met Pete before and all the?
Oh yeah,
This is what I live with every week, Frank. Every
I'm
week.
training for being a dad. Just cut me some slack.
that's good. The puns and the dad jokes are always good.
What's cool? I actually didn't realize that your like first video was a car video.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
either. I just pulled up his channel because I wanted to go back and verify. I'm like, is this guy
And it
telling
was
the
shot
truth?
in vertical.
Oh, how
Ooh.
dare you! Even
Which-
like back then, that was probably a no-no.
And now it's
Mhm.
like okay. Like I feel like now
Yeah,
it's,
that's 8
it's
years
fine.
old. That's an
Yeah.
8-year-old video.
wow. Look at you.
And he
You've been
shot
on
it in
YouTube longer than
vertical.
us.
Yeah,
Can't believe you weren't shunned from the get-go.
Look how ahead of his time he was, because like think about it, 8 years ago, we were shooting horizontal still.
You had
Like,
to. Like
stories
the
weren't a
internet
thing.
would like
Yeah.
come down on you.
Wow, you were so new age. Look at you, man.
Trailblazer
rebel.
over here.
Trailblazer. He was making reels before they were a thing. He was making IGTV posts before
Yeah.
it was a thing.
Might I say though, that's a nice looking Toyota pickup.
thank you.
It's like a Marty McFly esque
Those are
Toyota
those are
pickup.
classic.
It's a
That's
slightly newer version, and that looks like a late 90s, early 2000s. if I'm not mistaken.
I gotta say, Toyota did one thing right, and it was that pickup truck.
Yes.
Yeah, like that generation or that body
Yeah.
style of pickups. And you know they're good because they're in like third world countries with 300,000 miles on them or kilometers, you know.
Yeah,
And they're
for
still
sure.
running.
For sure.
Right on. Well, it's like, all right, so you're developing your shop, you get into it, you start doing the content. You're in a bigger space now. You're in a much bigger shop. How did that come about?
Yeah, so this shop that I'm in is actually the same shop that I filmed that Toyota pickup video. It's just that's the only shop that I've had, but I started it out the shop not planning on doing woodworking, right? So
Oh, got you.
like I have a big vehicle lift in my shop, and I had that put in here well before like I even wanted to do woodworking. Um, so then between, doing the bed for my wife and uh building the woodshed, like that's kind of then I kind of turn it into wood shop. Now that vehicle lift kind of just gets in my way, but
So it's changed so much over the years. It actually looks like a completely different shop
it does.
where you could see like the confusion. It's like, oh wow, that's the same place.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Yeah.
different shop. I thought you were maybe like in a garage before and I moved it into that shop.
No, same shop, but like, when I first bought this place, it was just like dirt floors and no actual walls. So I had the walls framed in and insulated and all that stuff. But yeah, it's completely different than when I first started working in it.
Wow, that's cool. So, are any plans of just getting rid of the lift and fully leaning into the woodworking, or you're still planning to maybe be using that for some car stuff here or there?
I only use a lift twice a year, and that's to take snow tires off and put them on. So
Oh, you're one of
I
those.
I really do want to get rid of it now, because now anytime that there's like a major thing I need to do with my vehicles, I don't have the time to do it. And so
Right.
I just take it to the shop because like I'm woodworking or building power lines. I don't have time to be messing around with oil changes and stuff. So
Right. It's a great idea to have something like that in your shop, but like it takes up a lot of real estate
Yep.
that you
it
could use
does.
for potentially something else.
Doesn't Jake
It
Miller have one
does.
of those in his shop? I think he still
He
does.
did. I don't know if he
I don't know
still
if he still
does.
does. Because I remember we were joking around at one point that if he gets a large format CNC, if he needs more space, he could just like lift the thing up and just
Yeah,
work
that'd be
underneath
handy.
it and then
That'd
put
be
it
handy.
back down. I mean, it's
I've actually done that quite a few times with my lift.
like lifted up some tools.
Yeah, like so that big assembly table that I have, like the casters that I had, or no, so when I bought my saw stop, when I got rid of that Craftsman table saw, I needed to my saw stop was actually shorter than my Craftsman table saw, so
Oh,
I was using the assembly table as my outfeed table, and so I actually lifted that whole assembly table up with the lift, and then I cut like 2 inches off the legs,
must
put the
be
casters
nice.
back on, and then dropped it back down.
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
If
Maybe
I
you should keep it.
if I
yeah.
ever like build a shop or when I build a shop, I always wanted like to put a beam down the center so I could like get one of those like chain hoists.
Hoist.
Yeah, for at least for like because you never know. You know, even back in the truck, put a tool
You
onto it,
never
or if
know
I
when you're
get
gonna
it loaded
pull
up.
an
Yeah.
engine
You never know when you got to pull an engine. Yeah, just to change the spark plugs or
or a
something.
hammy.
I don't know how spark plugs work.
When I bought my Laguna tape or my Laguna bandsaw, I used it to get it out of my pickup too. Like I put straps underneath of it and put it on the lift, lifted it up like 2 inches above the bed of my truck, drove my truck out, and then
Yeah, that would
loaded.
be nice. That would
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
I
had a
remember
heck of
standing
a
up that.
time. I had a heck of a time getting my saw stop table out of my truck when I first bought my saw stop. Like, God, when was that? 2018. It was a real bear.
Because they load
yeah,
it for you in a lot of places. They'll put it on the back of your truck, but
Yeah,
then
but
like
they're not there to help you
have
unload it.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to get it
you're
down.
on your own now, bub.
yep,
Oh,
Dude,
okay.
I remember my Laguna bandsaw just tipping it up because they ship flat, so like to even lift it up, like you just don't want to because it's heavy. It's a heavy sucker. It's all cast iron,
yeah.
but at least for the main body, just to stand it up, that's sketchy. So it'd be nice to have some extra support. And I
Yeah,
was in my old
definitely.
shop where like I barely cleared the ceiling, so low I could touch it. Hey, so well, you mentioned kind of building power lines. So you're a lineman by trade, not an electrician, a lineman,
Wait a
which is
minute.
like,
Yep.
I thought you were a football player. That's not.
no, he's not.
I only
Like a
brought him on here because
sports
I thought he
ball
was a
lineman.
football player.
Nope.
What the?
Nope.
Whatever. Let's keep going.
So yeah, your line. So you started that right after the army, or was that something you did in the army that you kind of transitioned into civilian life? How did that come to be?
Yeah, no. So I started it right when I got out of the army. I went to a line school, which is kind of like just an intro to the trade, and then teach you how to climb and teach you a little bit about electrical theory and stuff like that. But then you take that information and then try to get an apprenticeship, because that's really, the school doesn't do anything for you other than knowledge and something to put on your resume to try to get an apprenticeship. And then so then you get an apprenticeship, and then you spend 3 to 4 years in the apprenticeship, and then once you finish that, then you're a journeyman.
Right on.
Yeah.
And now, and so you finally one day said, "Screw this! I'm done doing this full time." You kind of went full time with your content, or part time with the content, and part time you're now basically like doing Uber Eats but for line work.
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing
Uber
the nine to
lineman.
five, the 9 to 5 for quite some time, and then I just I wanted to try to really work on Frank Does It and see if I could pay the bills with it. And in the interim, it gives me more time to work on it, but in the interim, I can take short calls, like go work on storms or work 2 month jobs and not be tied to a specific company. So I'm kind of like a freelance lineman right now, and like I just got back from New Hampshire working that snowstorm that hit last week, and
It's
it's a good
crazy
way to
that
make
there's
some quick
still
money and
snowstorms
help
up there
people
right
out.
now.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. And you were telling us right before, because I asked you, like, "Oh, have you ever done like that where you're in a helicopter and they like drop you on a line?" And you're like, "Yeah," right before Workbench gone.
Yep. Yep. So,
That sounds fun and scary at the same time.
It's so
yeah, so
badass.
it was awesome. Like, so we didn't do like where you're like standing on the helicopter and like barehanding the wire. But we did to where like, they drop the man line and you hook it into your harness, and then they pick you up and then they fly you miles into the woods that way, because it's too steep to hike. I mean, you could hike it, but you're gonna spend half the day getting there. And so then they dropped me and my crew off, and I was a foreman, so I'd have the radio, and as soon as we landed, I'd call for our fly basket, which would have all of our tools and things like that in it, our lunches and rigging and stuff like that. They bring it to the job location, drop it off, and then what we were doing was reconductoring that, like a bunch of lines for fire mitigation for California. And so we were replacing all the poles and putting in different wire. And so the everything that came in there was via helicopter. So like we would have a hole dug already, or we would hand dig a hole, and then we'd call for a pole and they'd fly the pole in. They'd be dangling it underneath and the
Oh, so you were
helicopter.
actually placing brand new lines.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
helicopter, and just, me telling them like, hey, coming down, or, whatever. And so they'd bring the pole in and we put it in the hole, and then we guy it off with ropes, and then call for gravel and have them, and then
Oh,
they'd
so
come
like
in with,
each step of the process, you'd have to call
yeah,
the chopper
they'd
back.
come in with a bag of gravel and lower it down, and then we'd cut it with our knives and let the gravel go into the hole.
Jeez,
And
there's so many
Man,
steps. He's
it
like
was
a
a lot of
cool
fun.
version of Lee Oman.
Yeah.
much cooler.
I'm gonna get punched for that one. It's just a different kind of electrical Pokemon over here.
I
Yeah.
so I want to talk to you a little bit about your workbench. I know we got a question coming up about it, but I want some like a little bit of info. Like, what was the what was the driving force behind that? Because I know that that was one of the things that you did that like really took off. You got a lot of attention for that workbench, the micro jig workbench that you made.
Yeah, so I call it a miter saw station, but it's 21 foot long, so it's more like a big long workbench that my miter saw sits on.
Right.
And I don't know, like, so I ended up getting a bunch of free chests of drawers from my old employer, and it was enough for like 21 feet worth of real estate in my shop. And I'm like, well, I can't turn that down because it's free. And I was planning
Right.
on making my own miter saw station and designing the cabinets and everything, but like, how do I turn this down? And so I ended up getting them, and so now all of a sudden it's like, get them out of here now, or we're gonna put them in the dumpster. So I've got them
How could you
sitting
say
in
no
my
to that?
shop, right? So then I got them sitting in my shop. I can't do any woodworking projects because they're freaking taking up so much real estate in my shop. And so I basically like, okay, well, I need a top for it too. So I was like, well, I can design that. At least I can kind of make it my own with the top. And so then I just kind of, I really like the Ron Paul torsion box style. And I
Right.
also loved, the micro jig match fit system. And so I just kind of got on SketchUp and kind of combined the two.
Did you had you reached out to Match Fit or Microjig with that idea, or did you just do it without them and then just kind of, because I know they've shared a lot of your content over the years since you've built that. So curious how
Yeah,
that
no,
went
I,
down.
I did it. I did it completely without them. I had done a little bit of micro jig match fit stuff prior to that project, and but it wasn't until like I started actually doing that project that microjig actually reached out to me and wanted me to become an affiliate of theirs. And so that's actually one of my bigger sponsorships is with microjig,
Nice.
and a lot of it kind of derived from that project.
Do you do a lot of affiliate stuff with different brands?
I don't do too much affiliate stuff. It's mostly, I mean, I have an affiliate link with a lot of brands like RZ Mask and um, Microjig, and I'm actually a Lowe's affiliate now, and
Ooh,
Amazon and all that
Nice.
stuff. But I don't know. Microjig actually I've made a decent amount from them because their commissions are so high, and I feel like they just kind of it's easy to sell their stuff, right? Because we
Yeah,
all kind of use it. And I'll never really sell anything that I don't really use
right.
anyways.
that's a great way to think about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was simply curious because we often talk about, how to build relationship with brands. And, we talk about how, it's good to actually use their products before you try to start reaching out. And I think, you're a shining example of that. So
Yeah.
I like the story, and I'm glad
Yeah.
you're here to share
Appreciate
it.
it.
Do you have any
Yeah.
advice for anyone that's looking to work with brands? Like, what's your approach when when you reach out to these brands, or if they reach out to you? Like, how does that conversation usually go? Because people are always asking us, and I'd love to get your input.
Yeah. So I'm probably not the best person to ask because most of the
You're
stuff
doing
that
good
I've
though. You're
got,
doing good.
most of the stuff that I've gotten, brands have reached out to me. Um, One brand I did reach out to and had some success with was Wagner, and you guys will see some stuff coming from them before too long. I'm currently trying to paint the whole interior of my shop. So I reached out to them basically like wanting to get a sprayer, not, so I haven't personally reached out to a lot of brands. I don't know. I don't know why. I just kind of they've kind of just reached out to me. So I'm
So,
probably not the best one to ask on that, but
so that's the way to do it. Just be unresistible, like Frank, and have them come to you.
Irresistible.
yeah, just
Irresistible.
Unresistible.
Unresistible?
Unresist. Is it the
Whatever.
opposite of
Be undeniable. How's that?
undeniable? Well, that's awesome. And the one other thing I wanted to mention is, or talk about, because we talked about this in a pre-show. So going back to the line work stuff, you did the line work. You made the decision, kind of move towards that. One of the biggest benefits of it, and it was the the Uber Eats joke of like, you basically do uh on call or like as needed type work, or you sign up for stuff where they can reach out to you. So you actually work. You were telling us like you did a 4 month job in California, and then you were basically off for 6 months working on Frank Does It, being with the family, and like just stockpiled cash, and then you were able to just kind of coast. And what like, how do you feel about that kind of lifestyle or that kind of like work schedule where like you're away from family for so long, but then you're working for a long time? Because we're all trying to escape that 9 to 5, and hearing success stories of different scheduled work that works is really good to hear. So I want to hear your input.
Yeah, so that time that I spent in California, that was hard. I don't really like being away from the family, especially not for 4 months, but like this storm that I just did in New Hampshire, I was gone for a week, and basically made enough money to survive for a month. So, um,
That's cool.
in my trade, there's opportunity to make a lot of money quick. Um, And so, that's why I went to California and did that. I'm a huge family man. Family is the most important thing to me. And so that was really hard. But I had to escape the job I was currently working at, and that was kind of my best option, was to go pile up a bunch of money and, take 6 months off and try to really work on trying to build this. And so now I'm kind of probably gonna do more of the short term work and stuff. Like, I don't really want to leave the family for
For
a
that
long
long.
time again.
But that'd be good. That's a nice way to supplement.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're able to kind of pick and choose which jobs you take, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's nice. That's good.
Yeah, so I'm on a list of like 30 companies for these storms, and so like when hurricanes hit, I'll get a text message that says, "Can you work?" And I'll just either say yes or ignore it if I can't.
Mhm.
And then you can, sign the books at the union halls and stuff like that and get local work too. So there's local work, that might last a month or 3 months, but then you're home every night, or, you know,
Yep.
so there's always work for a lineman. So I'm kind of excited just to kind of do the freelance thing and just work when I want to work or work when I need to work. And then that way I can pour a little bit more into my family and pour a little bit more into my business.
That is very cool. Very
I love
nice.
that. Now, do you do any commissions or any kind of one-off work or trade shows, or not trade shows, but like fairs where you're making smaller items? Are you doing anything like that?
So no, I haven't really done that. Um, and I honestly don't know where I'd find the time to do, production work. I'm willing to take on projects that will be a cool video, that'll be cool content. I mean, everything that I have made has been kind of for friends, or, you know, people asking me to make something. And if it's something that I want to make, or if
If it
it's,
intrigues you,
If it's
if it
cool enough.
intrigues me, and like, then I'll do it. And probably won't end up making money on the piece itself, but it gives me, you know, content, you know, of
Yeah.
a cool build or whatever. But
Yeah, dude. I love that concept. I like hearing this because this is a completely kind of unique approach to like having a job while still doing your own thing. Because most of the people, like most people are like me. Most people are, they work the 9 to 5, but then they're weekend warriors. They're in the shop the 5 to 9 after work. If they have a family, it's a little less than weekends, and that's kind of when they work. So hearing different ways of being able to make it work, because in this day and age, it's hard to comprehend where you can live comfortably without going to a 9 to 5. So
Yeah.
hearing success stories, I think, is very important to our audience, and to me too, even because I'm just looking at long-term stuff. Like, I don't want to be, I like my job, but I don't want to be working for them, for their dream, for forever. I want to
Yeah.
start working towards my thing, and having Emma on has been really great, but it's really cool to hear somebody do something like this. Like right now I'm kind of in a, not obviously not the same situation, but it's like I have these ice climbing tool gigs or like some other production jobs that will sometimes fall in my lap, and it's like 2, 3, 4 grand or whatever, and it'll cover me for a couple months of workshop time. Granted, if that was my full-time job, would not be enough, but for like when you need some shop supply money or whatever, like that's pretty good, or have to have it pay for material or some other fun projects. But we're actually getting to the point where we're reevaluating whether or not we want to do vendor events, smaller events, things that are making us 20% of the money but eating up 80% of our time.
Yeah.
It's like not really worth it anymore, and we're like, what's really going to make us money long term? And it's like, hey, like what about content, like full-blown content, long versions like YouTube or whatever, because even on Instagram it's kind of limited unless you're really a monster account.
Yeah. Yeah, and like brand deals and stuff, I mean, at least from my experience, they're not they don't come along as often as you really need them to actually like make it like pay the bills with them. The word I was looking for was consistent. They're not as consistent, and that's really how you make money on Instagram is with brands. There's really not a lot of other ways.
Yeah,
Brands and affiliate marketing.
Affiliate a little bit, yes. I mean, some people kill with affiliate, but like most affiliate sales stuff, like you're just getting maybe a couple $100 a month.
Some sort of consistent paycheck is key, though, especially like when you're doing it full time. Trust me. You don't want to be riding the roller coaster and hitting those valleys, because those are tough weeks. Those are really tough weeks.
And like, listen, there's obviously there's something to be said about inconsistent incomes. Like, I mean, look at farmers. Farmers will work all year and then they'll do their one big push where they sell everything and they make their year in a month. And then they just have to allocate that. That's when you got to be good with money, right? Same thing. Like Frank's good with money.
Stockpile and then distribute
he's got
evenly.
4 kids and nice tools. Like, he's good with money. He can earn 6 months worth in 2 months and then like save that and be good with the money.
Or he's selling his body on the side and we don't know.
I mean, look at him. He's a piece of work in a nice way.
He's got a fan site on Only Linemen's.
Only polls.
Only polls.
That's right. That was the joke of the pre-show.
My people. Well, that's great. Well, we'll kind of get into more questions for you in the question segment. But I guess Dan, should we? Oh, I guess Dan. I don't have a sound for this, but before we get into the Maker News, Dan, what are you wearing? Who are you wearing today?
Oh, I'm wearing my one-off Another Woodshop podcast t-shirt that Pete didn't know I made.
I actually love that shirt. I forgot that you made that design.
Yeah, I made this. Well, it's just a Canva. It's just a Canva design. And I made it to say Another Woodshop podcast. I'm actually shocked that it's spelled correctly.
Yeah, we need to get that up on the site.
Well, until we do, I think this will be one of the designs we give away for episode 200.
Ooh, yeah, the Another Woodshop podcast.
It's very limited edition, this one.
There's literally just one.
Yes, very limited edition. There might be 5 or 6 in the future, but as of right now, there's only one. What?
And I'm rocking some Frank Does It merch.
Yeah.
And I've been really into like tan colors lately. I'm literally wearing my
look at you! You sell out wearing your
my own merch.
Your shirt.
This startup maker, Petrie's Workshop. But these hats, Frank, I'm pretty sure they're available. You have a merch shop, right?
Yep, frankdoesit.com.
Yeah, so go check that out too. You can get some stuff from him. And I'm wearing Nick Brim underwear.
I'm not my favorite
underwear.
Are they actually Nick's? Did you take them from him at Workbench Con, or
the joke is I'm not wearing any underwear?
Oh, I thought maybe he had a merch store with undies.
He might. I don't know. Although at this point, his wife's account is going to be blowing up, so she'll have the merch, and he'll be the shop help.
Frank, are you wearing any Maker branded not content, but
He's
merch
got
or
the
anything like that?
ghost tee.
I
Oh yeah,
got
he's wearing his own too.
Frank
got one of
does
those
it,
shirts.
hoodie, and then total boat.
Oh, the
hat.
total boat hat. I got one of those hats around here somewhere. I haven't broken it out yet.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've got Dan's hat.
I don't have the black and gray, but I got the blue one.
I got that one's up. Oh wait, I don't have the hat hanger in here anymore.
I like
Since Emma
to
moved in.
wear my hats until they're all nasty, and then I'll switch to a different one. Right now,
Yep.
my current favorite is this Shopsmith hat I got from the people at
Yeah.
Workbench.
What's funny is
Heck
like
yeah.
I genuinely like treasure this cork bill hat. Like there's
That's a
almost-
rare hat as well. I think
almost
that's
no sweatbands on it or whatever.
yeah.
No matter how much I try, there's something about the cork bill. It just catches like see this side right here. It's from my thumb, like from putting it on and
Yep.
off. Like it attracts dirt in some way.
Oh
But
really? I think I
I
only
still-
had 2 of those made. I gave one to you and one to Coffee.
yeah, I do. Because it's so unique. I've gotten some compliments on this. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think
Then
I got that
my-
from Ruckus Woodshop.
Maybe I got my Nick Brim Fresh Prince of Bel Air hat with the.
That's sick
Yeah, those are cool. We got some good hats at Workbench Con.
for sure.
Yes.
I did a hat culling the other day. Like, just there's some old hats that got retired.
Oh yeah. I feel
It was
bad
mostly
about
like brand hats that sometimes I've won them in giveaways from brands that I've like,
right.
never really use or interact with. Like, I'm not gonna name any brands.
I go
in
back
case
and forth
they're
on
sponsors.
wearing a branded hat because I'm like, wait, these people aren't paying me, but then I get one like this and I'm like, well, it actually fits really good though. So
It's also like it's Shopsmith. It's both iconic and ironic. It's
retro.
like but it's so old school. It's like if I had a Porter Cable hat, I would wear the hell out of it. Just because like to me it's old school. I actually did a story the other day. I'm like, is Porter Cable still around? Because they like
Yeah.
disappeared for a while. They got bought out by someone and then they stopped like having them in stores and then they came back. But I think their routers are dead now.
Yeah, the router that everybody liked is no longer.
I have one.
I
on
got
my
a Porter
table.
Cable sander.
Ooh, I have a. I think. Oh no, I have a True
Yeah,
Blue
what do I have?
Ryobi belt sander.
I think I have a Porter Cable jigsaw.
I have a drill press. And listen, there's one tool that more woodworkers have of Porter Cable than anything else, and it's not the router. It's that super loud ass pancake compressor that comes with the 3.
That's what I have.
Yeah,
That thing
Everyone
is
had
loud.
that. Everyone at some point had that thing. It's so.
I have
it's literally the loudest compressor ever. Like it's so
No,
bad.
that's accurate. That's so
Yeah.
accurate.
But the guns are great. I have them.
I have a fun story about that. I ordered that pancake air compressor from Amazon, and
Which,
they
in fact,
accidentally.
not a pancake, very oval.
It's not. It's pancake-esque.
It's like imagine a Snorlax sitting down. That's a Pokemon joke.
But Amazon accidentally sent me 2, and I
Ooh.
reached out to them, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever, just keep the other one." So I sold it on the Facebook Marketplace and basically got one for free. It was super cool.
Oh, you could have run like dual compressors.
Yeah, but I don't need that kind of noise, man. You think I can't hear now? Good
In
lord.
stereo.
What segment do we got coming up next?
Oh, Dan, your favorite segment, Dan.
Oh,
Good
God.
news, everyone.
Oh, Maker News. That was
Yeah.
I thought we were going to what's on my bench already.
No, we don't. We'll get to it if we have time. But right now, let's just get into some Maker news. Daniel, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that. I just muted my mic because I was hacking up a lung.
Because
Um,
Dan ate broccoli today, and green is bad for Dan.
Oh, it's so bad for me. Well, something came up in my IG feed, and I feel like this is deserving of Maker News this week. Apparently, Handy Dandy Brandy, if you're not following her, you should be. She's given away, in conjunction with, a Onefinity CNC. So
Nice.
I didn't read up on her rules or exactly what everything's going to entail, but if you go over to Handy Dandy Brandy's IG account, you can probably figure that out and get signed up over there. As you know, Pete and I don't know about Frank. Frank, do you even have a CNC? I think we talked about this at work.
I do
I
not.
don't think you do.
Yet.
Yeah.
I do not yet.
Well,
Yet.
we're big fans of Onefinity, so go give that a look-see.
Handy
Get signed
Dandy
up.
Brandy.
Handy dandy brandy.
Is her name Brandy?
No, it's Rebecca.
Oh, I was gonna
It's
say
Rebecca.
you
No.
can't trust anyone that uses their first name and their handle.
I
which
just
is-
like that IG
Yeah.
handle. Handy dandy brandy.
yeah.
Pete, did you have anything you want to bring up? I have a few more things, but
Did
we
I?
can go back and forth.
Did I? So apparently Surf Prep is doing a West Coast meetup on June 8th. And usually be like, all right, Standing Company's doing a meetup, whatever. Guys, free tacos. Free tacos.
Is that
So-
legit? I thought
so
maybe that
we're-
was just a rumor I heard.
If that's not a rumor, I'm gonna have to cancel my ticket. But no, June 8th, West Coast meetup. It came across our our
news
RSS
tickers.
feed, our RSS feeds or
Oh.
news tickers. Yeah. Somebody Snapchatted it to me, and we were like, you know what, maybe we do a meetup in the West Coast, because I always complain about how there's not enough meetups and there's nothing in like the summertime. And
Well.
in early June is right around the time where I can still get away from my pregnant wife, not get away from her, but like I can leave and she won't be mad.
When is she due? July something?
July. I know. Yes, you're gonna.
July will win exactly. Do you have a date?
30th.
July 30th?
Anyone
Okay,
born
you
in
got some
July
time.
has been like, oh, you should do this day. Like it's not like we get
Well,
to choose. But
I was just
it's
curious, like around what day?
the
Like beginning of the
30
month, end of the month?
30ish, the 32nd of July.
32nd. Oh, it's
Sorry,
my favorite
32nd of
July day.
Yep.
My favorite
Yep.
July
And
day.
she'll be born exactly at 7:60 a.m.
Interesting.
Exactly. But
You have
anyway,
this
so
all boiled down. You know
Oh, yeah,
exactly what's gonna happen.
nothing like having a plan for it to get
Yeah.
ruined. But yeah,
And
so,
everything
so
will
they're
go
doing-
smooth.
They're doing a West Coast meetup, which might be fun because honestly, there's not that many like meetups. I mean, there are some good
It's
ones,
been a
but
minute since we've been to the West Coast, you know? It's been a while. We went out
wanna-
there for a reason. I can't remember why we
I
went
got a
out
little taste of the West Coast this week. We had an earthquake, so that was crazy. But like, aside from
there. Hey,
that,
this ain't what's on my
oh, I'm sorry, but like, just saying,
what's underneath
I
my
miss-
bench and shaking it. That's
made me
not
think
the
of
segment.
West Coast. So I was like, oh, let's move out. Let's go out there for a bit. But Dan, what do you have something else too?
I got one other thing. It's not really, I don't know if it's maker news worthy, but it's worth bringing up because it was so weird. Do you follow Evan and Katelyn?
Oh, dude, that's on my list.
Yeah.
Get out of my head, dude.
I don't. I've been a follower of Evan and Katelyn for a while, and I've gotten to the point where I don't watch a whole lot of their videos because I don't always like.
I love those guys.
My
They're
dog
great.
is like fighting with the cat. Why do you do this now? Why? Anyway, I don't often watch their videos, but this one caught my eye, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. They got one of those. I think it's a Boston Dynamics
It's a
robot.
I don't know if it's a Boston Dynamics one, but it's basically one of the same because Boston Dynamics released I think they released the design or at least the prototype design.
Yeah.
So there's other companies that have made them, and
Yeah, it's like a robot dog.
and
right?
Evan bought quote unquote the cheapest one.
Yeah.
The cheap. It's still.
And then
thing is not cheap.
they turned it into the creepiest Furby I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Like this
Basically,
thing was
a Furby dog, and it was both the most awesome and the most like nightmare fuel thing. ever.
nightmare fuel. Yes.
And
Very
then
nightmare fuely.
in classic ENK fashion, they went to like a public park and they were playing fetch with it and stuff and like recording some B-roll, which also like I would have loved to be a fly on a wall at that park just watching them just like what
Oh,
are they
right.
doing? But like with
Anyway.
no context, just like what are they doing over there?
If you get a chance, go check out that video. It's
Check the
actually
video.
really good. It's really good.
So we have some other stuff. So two bits of news and makers for St Jude. So they are doing a spring challenge right now. There's over $3,000 in prizes, including some stuff from Dan and myself. NBD.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, most of that number is not us, but we
No.
helped a little bit. Also,
And I helped.
and I helped. Temecula Yard Games just raised over $1,200 for Makers for St. Jude with one of their custom.
Yeah, they raffled
cornhole
off a
boards.
set of
Yep.
cornhole boards. Yeah.
So very cool. We shouted them out a couple times on here, but that's just I love that they're giving us stuff away and they're raising money for Makers for St. Jude.
It's a super good cause. Super good cause. We can get
listen,
behind it.
Of all the causes, it's one of the better ones. So it's pretty
One
good.
of the better ones.
One of the better ones. It's
Frank, do you have anything going on that you wanna shout out, or do you know of anything? Or I'm gonna throw you right under the bus right here, bud.
Yeah, no. So I don't really have anything at the moment to shout out.
And that's okay. That's fine. Dan
That's
put you on
fine.
a spot. This is
Yeah.
a safe place. I'm gonna end it because Dan stole my thing. But I'm gonna end it with some three new tools or things around tools and brands that are coming out. So Festool just released something cool. They partnered up with is it Printables? I think it's on Printables. And essentially they released a bunch of files, like 3D printed files that are designed to be printed in multicolor or solid color, whatever you want, to hold their tracks and some of their tools. So basically I'm going out of business because of it.
Oh, I was gonna say, why are you
yeah.
shouting this out? That's like
Because
your thing.
it's cool. And honestly, like if more brands were to release some like accessories and things that you can 3D print for companies, I think that's really cool. Yes, it like cuts into my business.
It
but,
does make sense because they don't have to stock that item.
Yep.
And they don't have to pay for shipping.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, and like, they're not even selling a file or whatever. They just released a couple things and I think it's cool. I think it's a nice thing. I kind of really want to see more brands do this. If you want to see more about it, check out Festool's website or page, or even check out 3D DIY Dave. He did a little story about this. So I think this is really cool. And I hope more brands jump on this bandwagon. Again, it's one of those things that like, yeah, it'll make some of what I do obsolete, but I'm still
Well,
gonna
not
do what
necessarily. I mean, not
Yeah,
everybody's going to know about
I
it.
know,
But
exactly. The other thing is Laguna just came out with a new fence for, so like obviously like Harvey makes a lot of accessories and different fences for different saws. Laguna just came out with one. It looks like it might be usable on different saws as well, and it's the Driftmaster DXIII, I think. So it looks like a pretty robust resawing fence.
Driftmaster.
Driftmaster.
Does that mean I can take it around a track sideways?
Their slogan is so definitely check that out. This is where we play that like Tokyo Drift song. I can't
There's
do
a
it 'cause
song?
we get demonetized. Oh yeah, the Tokyo Drift. We'll play it as the outro.
Okay.
We'll do that.
I guess I got homework. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it. And the last one is, so Dan just got a brand new laser, the Bolt from Thunderbolt.
Yes.
Get it? Ha ha ha, puns. And then they went ahead and released 3 new versions of it.
Yeah. Thanks, Thunder.
So there's a 3. There's a plus. Yes,
There's 3 new versions.
Bolt Pro 22 and then a Bolt Pro 33. So that's that refers to the size of the beds. So I'll give you guys a breakdown on it. And they're not paying us to say this, but I just love new tools coming out. And a lot of times with a lot of these companies, you'll get like 2 or 3 versions of like different sizes, but you don't get different.
Well, what I'm concerned with is I
tiers of
don't
all
have
of
the
them.
Pro version. I thought I was a Pro woodworker, but apparently
You have
I'm
the
not.
LX version.
Yeah.
LXS. It's like a Mercedes. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
the Bolt Plus is a 40-watt 20 by 12, which is a nice classic size, right? Then you get the Bolt Pro 22. That's a 40-watt 22 by 15, so it's a little bigger. And then it's a little faster too. And then the 55-watt 32 by 20 working area. That's actually
Ooh,
really good. That's a good
good.
size. Yeah. The
Huh.
price is $15,000. Woo.
Yikes.
Oh wow.
But it looks like all of them have some good Z clearance as well. So I'm assuming you can do some thicker stuff.
Are they all the RF CO2? Because
Um,
that's what's so cool about the one that I have.
I believe they
Is
are.
it
Yeah.
because of that RF? It's got a super thin curve,
Yep. I believe
like
they are an
it's
RF
like a hair.
CO2. Also, this is like such a silly thing, but I really appreciate this, and I wish more lasers had it. The Bolt Pro 22 and the 32, the bottom section, the bottommost section of it above the floor, are shelves for material. They're
Handy.
Oh wow.
like I know it's silly, but like also like this is kind of cool. Like
That's pretty
where
cool actually.
I would put some sheets of material down there, so I appreciate.
I'd put some stuff in there.
I'd put some.
I'd pack it.
I got holes. Would you put material in me, Dan? Oh,
I'd load it up.
Yes, I would, Greg.
So dumb. All right, should we get into the what's on our bench?
Please and thank you.
What's on my bench?
Okay. So Frank, what's in your bench this week, bud, or this month? whatever. What are you working on right now?
What's on my bench is everything in my shop, and it's covered with painter's plastic.
Oh, right.
So I'm trying to paint the whole interior of my shop, which, I've been using my shop, so it's a huge pain, and everything has to move to the center of the shop, and it's quite the undertaking. So that's what's on my bench.
But
Everything.
imagine how good it's going to look when you're done.
It's going to look a lot better than OSB.
Yes.
Although I will say, I do like the OSB walls. It's very unique. So if I'm watching a video and I'm scrolling through IG or whatever, and I see OSB walls, I know it's you, like right away.
Oh, really?
Oh, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
when you see a padded marshmallow room and you know it's Kamani. Yep. Yeah. I'm putting you on blast, Kamani. Marshmallow walls.
The
No,
the
so I
problem
don't
with
hate the OSB.
OSB,
That's all I want to say.
I don't either, but the thing I hate about it though is like it throws the color and the white balance off of
Oh
my
yeah,
camera.
I could see that.
Oh, it makes
And
everything
so-
look yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was my old
orange,
shop.
and like I have to color grade everything in post production, and it's just a pain.
It's a pain. It's a pain.
It's
Yeah.
a huge pain.
I could
feel
see
that.
that.
I totally feel that.
So you're just painting over the OSB, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
still going to have the OSB there.
Yep,
Because
yep.
I think one of the huge benefits to having that is you could put a screw basically anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
Yep.
need to look for studs specifically all the time.
Exactly.
Have you
Yeah,
thought
that'd be
about pouring epoxy over it or painting it with epoxy? I saw somebody did like the OSB epoxy floors and they got a lot of crap for it on the internet.
Did I see that on Reddit?
Oh, man.
Is
Yeah,
that-
it was all over because it was one of those posts that just made everyone really mad.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see Reddit having a problem with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that too. And I'm like, what the heck?
I mean,
But,
listen, like
I don't know,
the
it's
people
kinda
put
cool, I
pennies
guess.
on the ground and then epoxy them, so which also is pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I think spraying paint onto it has been enough work. I don't want to be putting epoxy on it.
So you're spraying
It
it,
would be
all
cool,
with that
though.
Wagner?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you like it?
I haven't fired it up yet, but
Ah,
Which one did you get? I'm curious.
I got I think it's a 170.
the Wagner 170?
Yeah.
Curious
Let me
what it
look
looks
real
like
quick.
now. Oh, it's one of those. Okay. Yeah, so it's like a
It's-
basically a standing unit where you drop the hose in a bucket and you got a
Yeah,
spray
yeah.
line.
Yeah, you put a 5-gallon bucket under it.
Nice. Yeah, I bought one of
Those-
those from Graco recently, thinking that I was going to do my cabinets with that. That's such overkill.
Yeah. I bought a Graco that you put a hose into like a 5-gallon bucket when I had my old house and I was painting the outside. That thing was fantastic. I'll tell you what.
Lays down
Heck
so
yeah.
much paint. I mean, dude, this
Yes.
this sprayer that we got, I'll talk about it when we get on what's on my bench. But yeah, so are you, by the way, so you're painting the walls. What are you doing to the floor?
I'm
Anything?
not I'm just covering, I'm not doing anything new to the floor, but for painting, obviously I got to cover it
Is-
up with
Is it just
paper.
straight concrete on the floor?
just straight concrete. Yep.
You're one of those. Okay.
You're one of
I mean-
those.
I'd like to do epoxy floors, but
Who's that? Who's got that kind of time or money?
with the
This guy.
flakes and all that, but
Well, I did it right as I moved in, but I also did it with the
Yeah.
whole shop.
Yeah, it's one thing to do it just before you move in, like you did, Pete. It's another thing to like have to haul everything out,
Well,
or at
hang
least
on.
one side to the other.
Well, hold
Yeah.
on to your thong, Dan, because I had a full shop when I did it because we were using my shop as a staging area, or at the time it was a garage. I think that's what it's called.
I'm
the
trying to
garage.
make excuses over here. Don't ruin this for me.
So I ended up, I did it as like I pushed after everything was moved into the house and it was just tools. Everything was pushed up against what was it? Oh, first it was pushed against the back wall. No, everything got pushed outside. We washed the floors, and then I did the front section, the section right by the door, and then I brought the tools in, and then I did the back part of the shop, and then I was able to.
So
spread out
everything
the whole
was
shop.
outside at once.
Everything had to for one day.
Oh,
Everything
wow.
had to go outside.
So I was right. Okay, cool. That's all I needed to know.
So either way, yeah,
I was correct.
but still, the equivalent. It was As if I had
Frank,
a
take
full
note
sheet.
of this. Would you take a note? Dan
That
was
you were
correct.
Dan was right. Get out of here.
Dan
Get
was
out of here,
correct.
Dan. Now are you taking any like while you have everything kind of off the walls and whatnot, like are you just painting or are you thinking about kind of rerunning some electrical, doing anything else?
So I'm not thinking about doing anything necessarily new. I'm thinking about changing things up though. Like, so I took down, so I don't know if you seen in some of my videos, I had all those 2x4 lumber racks on
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
on that
Yep.
back wall. So I'm not gonna put those back up because that took up so much usable wall space.
I can relate to that.
So I took those down and actually cut them up, and I'm going to burn those 2x4s.
Ooh, fire pit.
Um, but I was thinking about doing some wall control back there, maybe doing like a logo back there, and just kind of really trying to consolidate how much and really reduce the amount of lumber that I'm keeping there, and maybe just maybe move it higher to where like you can walk under it. Maybe using some more industrialized lumber racks instead of the big honking 2x4 ones.
Dope.
I can
I
relate.
love it. Yeah, you can what's the one that we have, Dan? The Hungry Dong ones? We got them like
They're
on crazy Amazon sale. They're
the
basically just Bora racks, but like total like Chinese knockoff. Um,
on the
it
dong.
was like Hamadong.
On the
We just
dong.
called them Hungry Dong.
It really does.
Dumb
It's
name.
really something like that. We're
But
not just
we got
making
them
this
on
up.
one of those like I'm pretty sure it was like an Amazon F up because they were like
Mm-hmm.
$20.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we
Yeah, I
all
got two
bought
of
like
them.
4 of them or something. It was, I mean, why not? When it's that cheap, you can't say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're still holding up too. I've had mine on the wall for a couple years now, and they're attached to my wall, my concrete wall via Tapcons.
Oh,
And
really?
they're
Not
not
moving?
solid concrete walls, they're cinder block walls. So
Oh wow.
and I keep them loaded up with lumber and they haven't fell yet. So all's well.
Sweet.
Yeah, mine are still holding up pretty well. They're still in their boxes. They're holding up pretty good.
They're still in their boxes. One of these days I'll get them up.
Well, so do you know what my lumber rack is made out of? So I don't have lumber in my shop except the stuff I'm working on and plywood. All my lumber is in my shed and
That's right.
it's those adjustable shelf brackets that like like those wire shelves and it's this triangular thing that goes into like the double slotted track.
Mhm.
I have like hundreds of pounds of lumber on these things and they are holding up rock solid. They need to be selling these things as lumber racks because they're adjustable by inch too, which is really really nice so you can change sizes.
Oh wow.
It's remarkable how much these things can hold because they are so overloaded.
Heck yeah.
Yes, those can hold a lot if they are the thing that I'm thinking of. Are they
Yeah, it's
like
like the things that go in like wire shelves. Or they
oh,
hold
they're
up wire
not.
shelves in closets usually.
I was thinking they were the racking like in stores, the shelves.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
Because
these may
the
or may
place I
not have
used to work a
been.
long time ago when I had a job, I worked
What's
for a
that?
company that made those.
I
And
may have acquired these when they were being put into the trash at an Apple themed computer company when I worked there.
okay, so yes,
So,
yes,
but they were like
those
for
can hold a remarkable amount of weight.
like all my lumber, and Petey himself.
That's
So,
awesome.
well, Dan, what's going on with you? What's on your Benchito?
Well,
Say Etsy orders, I'm gonna smack you.
what do you want me to say? What exactly do you think I'm going to say at this
Some
point?
variety.
Variety. Uh,
That's good. Good. Keep going.
hmm. Well,
Well,
I did mention a couple weeks ago that I have to make my daughter a bed one of these
Mhm.
days.
sorry, I didn't mean to call you out on it like that.
I don't do anything other than Etsy orders. I don't know what the hell you want me to say. I'm not real happy about it, but I am happy that my bank account is happy. So
And if the bank account is happy,
the wife is happy.
there we go.
Everything is happy.
You need to
So
keep Kayla real happy.
I'm keeping her pretty dang happy.
Oh, hey, this is
Pretty happy.
this is a family show. Stop it.
Not like that.
Well,
That doesn't keep her happy.
Then I'm very disappointed in you. You should be doing that too.
Well, she's happy. What more do you want? Pete, tell me what you're working on,
Well,
because
that's it.
my
You're just
life is
moving on
boring.
Etsy orders.
What I literally am not doing anything else that I haven't already
All right.
talked about.
I'll keep it short and sweet too, man. I'm working on this freaking kitchen island. It's almost done.
Man, I'm so tired of hearing about the kitchen island.
You're doing a good
Ugh.
job on that, Pete.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really needed to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been digging the content.
I just realized I've never said that. Yeah, good job, Pete.
Dan, remember how I tell you every week I'm proud of you? I just want it back once. This one's funny. So no, the kitchen island is taking a remarkable amount of time. This is going to sound really stupid because this isn't even like a high-end project, but just like the level of quality I got with the paint and how much care I'm taking with like every step. It seems really
This must
silly
be
to
the
say.
best kitchen island ever.
Like I've really like tried to do my best with every part of it, even though it's just like a quick little project. Quick, my ass, quick. But like, you know, it's like supposed to be a simpler project and kind of the trial for doing the rest of the kitchen and doing the pantry eventually. But like, I really try to do the best job. And the one thing that really truly blew me away was, I think last week I talked about how we have joint custody now of a Graco sprayer. Got the ultimate quick shot with Keith, and
As a matter of fact, I think that was their show title.
It was.
No, that was their show title.
Yeah.
Joint custody sprayer.
Yeah. It's funny. I bring up Keith on his podcast as much as he brings me up on his podcast now. But so like spraying with that thing, it was the first time like I laid 2 coats of finish on these doors, and even after 1 coat, they looked flawless. Like you get that like very thick orange peel almost, like because when you get regular orange peel, it's usually bad. It's like very fine. But when you're laying down paint with a sprayer, you get these like wavy, almost not wavy, but like it's orange peel, but just looks like bigger version of it. And it looks like a little like this is gonna look terrible. It levels off so nice. And this is the first time that I've ever applied paint to anything, and it feels so professional. Like I've seen cabinets and doors painted like installed, or like the stuff that they sell at Home Depot, and it's painted or coated in something. It just feels like it's literally covered in like whatever plastic finish that like you see some of these fake cabinets have that's like glued onto it or whatever. And I never thought that I could achieve that with like my shop, right? And it's not just like the woodworking part of it. It's just like painting. Painting sucks. Most of us hate painting. And honestly, I can safely say now that most of us hate painting because we're using a wrong paint and a wrong tool. A lot of us are rolling them on, brushing it on or whatever, and it's just not fun. And I would be I would be rolling for another week to try to get all this paint laid out on this thing and looking good without streaks. So I'm not saying you have to buy a super expensive sprayer, but a sprayer will do a good job. So aside from that, everything's sprayed. That's all done. The gun did a great job. Got all the electrical run today. The island's basically ready for assembly, so I'm going to be putting it in place tomorrow. The goal is to Emma is arriving. She's driving up with her family, with her parents from Florida, starting tomorrow morning. So I need to get this done by Saturday night, so that when they arrive at the house, the freaking island is done and the kitchen's actually clean and they can use it. And then starting Sunday, it's my favorite. I'm working on the ice climbing tools, so that's all getting laid out. Yay! So that's
you get a little taste of what I go through every day.
I know it'll basically just be straight up production work. And usually I bring help in at the really crappy stage, which is like the sanding and routing. This time I'm bringing in help right from the beginning, like assembly. So
Speaking of help,
assembly for a day.
Braden and Nick keep telling me, we're here to help you if you need help. I don't like giving up control to my product because I feel like I don't have, I don't like giving up control, really. Because I like to be able to see the product go out before, I put my stamp on it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm this close to taking up their offer on it, because if I don't do something, I'm never going to get caught up, and I'm never going to be able to like work on creative things that I want to.
If you pay them, then they have to do exactly the way you need. You could like pay them
yeah,
a
that's a
little
thing.
hourly rate in the shop, and then they have to do it just like.
Oh, I was
you.
hoping they would do it for free.
Well, yeah, but at some point you got to start
Hmm.
helping them out a little bit.
I know.
I know. No, but I think Dan, honestly, it's not the worst idea for you to bring in some help, even just like,
I mean, they
season-
both have CNCs now. Nick has a Onefinity as well. So just like all I'd have to do is provide him the files and the material, and
cut,
say,
or you
hey,
can
if
cut
you
some
get
blanks
some
or
time,
whatever.
cut a bunch of these blanks out, and then I
Or
could
like
put all the finishing touches on them.
Braden, mill me up a bunch of like boards of this size for the tabletops or something, right? Like you can, I think outsourcing some of that work would be very useful for you.
Something to think about in the future. Sorry, I didn't mean to take your
No,
spotlight.
that's fine. It's something to
It
think
just
about, man.
it reminded me of something.
You got to get help in the shop. I was just yelling at Pat from the Pine Barrens about how he needs to get help in his shop, and his words were, "I can't afford help," and I go, "I can't. You can't."
I understand where he's coming from, though. Like there comes a point in your business where you're doing well enough that it keeps you by yourself, very busy, and you're doing well financially. But if you start paying an employee, that takes a huge cut, and then you're not doing nearly as good as you were, and it's a hard leap to take.
Well, it's not necessarily a full-time employee. Like you're not having to like give somebody a full paycheck. I think what a lot of people are forgetting is I'll go off on a little tangent here. There's people jumping at the bit. Is that the saying? Whatever. They're hungry to learn and
Hungry
willing
like
to
a
work.
wolf.
Hungry like a wolf. Like what I said to Patrick was, I would have like 6-7 years ago, I would have killed to work under you. That's what I told him.
That's awkward.
Like, I would have killed to work in a shop as outfitted as yours with someone on your skill level, with the level of tools and lasers and CNCs that you have in your shop. And there's a kid just like me in your neighborhood somewhere. You just got to find him. Like, and just I want everyone to think about that, because like we get so frightened by this whole concept of taxes and like, oh, like you need to do a 1099 or whatever, W2 or 4.
I'm not. That's not what I'm worried
But
about.
some people are worried about that because like, as soon as you bring in an employee and like insurance and whatever, but and again, you want to do everything legally and properly and all that stuff, but there's plenty of people out there looking for work or looking to learn or looking to help out, whether it's your neighbor's kid or someone else. Like, look into the insurance if somebody's in your shop or whatever. Like my umbrella policy covers that. If somebody comes over and helps out. But like a lot of us started out helping out, you could say, under the table somewhere. So, it's almost consider it like a way to help yourself out and somebody else out, to bring somebody in to teach them and have them try a new trade or learn a little more in that trade. And you also get a little bit of help while doing it. There's even places where like I told Pat too, like if I was in the area, I would be like, hey, I'll maintain all your tools. I'll clean up at the end of each day if you give me free reign of the shop when you guys are not in here. Like that would be awesome. Imagine that. Like,
Yeah.
A lot of places don't have maker spaces or a resource like that. And being able to be a resource to the place that you're going to be potentially renting time from is huge. So, and again, it's a lot to say for like, if this is in your garage, you don't want a stranger coming over your house, but explore the options. If you're in there, maybe get a little bit of help. It might be useful.
Yeah. That would be a good trade-off. I never thought about that.
Yeah. There's always a kid out there
that'd be
that's just
valuable
wanting
to
learn.
somebody.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or you got a neighbor whose kid is, acting out and like, send him to work for me for a week.
No.
No. I mean, you never know.
No.
Listen, back in the day, if you were bad, you like worked in like your uncle's factory or the auto body shop down the street or something just to learn. That's just, I don't know. That's just how I pick things up. I worked for free in a lot of places. And then I got good enough where I could like try to do it myself. But enough of that ranting. Do we all do what's on a bench?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frank's
sorry.
painting.
I don't want
I'm
to.
Etsy.
Yep.
So why don't we get into questions?
Oh, Black Betty,
And let's see. First question is
Don't ask us why that is our
I don't know why.
questions
It's just
segment.
dancing in Black Betty. But first question's from Thomas, and he is from France.
Hey guys, I've got a question for Frank. I've seen that you made a micro jig base workbench, and I'm planning to build one for myself. Would you change anything about your workbench? Do you have any recommendation? Any reason you didn't do the workbench micro jig present on their website? Alright, bye.
Pete, would you translate for Thomas, please?
Yeah, so
Just in case, for Frank.
Thomas is
Because
asking
I understood.
about your workbench, and if you had to do it again, would you do it in any different way? And why didn't you do it the way that they have, kind of like a plan that they have on their site? Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, so if I was gonna do it differently, or if I was gonna do it again, I can't really think of anything I'd do differently. And when we're talking about my micro jig bench, I'm assuming he's talking about my miter saw station. And so it's 20 foot, 21 foot long. And basically, yeah, it's just a big long workbench with a miter saw on it.
That's 6.4 meters, by the way.
6.4 meters. So I can't think of anything I would do differently. I didn't go with what Microjig has on their website just because, I wanted to get on SketchUp and design my own thing and not necessarily just go with what they had.
Yeah.
I think anything that you do with the Microjig match fit system is going to be great and going to help you out a lot in your wood shop. I also cut some Microjig match fit slots into my assembly table that I built way before Microjig match fit was a thing, and that's been super helpful on my assembly table as well. One thing I don't necessarily like about my Microsoft station is how big the relief holes are, because it's hard to get to reach up in there. I probably would have made those a little bit bigger. The only reason why I didn't is because the pre-assembled or the chest of drawers that I got given to me is what I had to work with. And so I didn't want my work surface to be too high. So that's why my torsion box is actually pretty skinny. And that's why those relief holes aren't big enough to I couldn't stick my whole arm all the way through it.
Okay, now you're just flexing about how big your arm is.
Well,
Work out.
my forearm wouldn't go all the way in there, but
By the way, too, anyone confused about what he's talking about? He has the Ron Paulk style workbench miter station design. So it's got those oval pill-shaped holes in it.
yeah.
But these, no matter how big they are, it's still not big enough for his arm because he's so buff.
Also, you wouldn't do exactly what Microjig has on their website because you're not Frank copies it. You're Frank does it.
He does do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't download a workbench.
Right.
That's an old reference. So dumb. Dan, show title.
Exactly.
All right. Next question is from Sarah.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah with Rosie's Woodshop. I had a question for Frank. I saw that your daughter is involved in some of your videos and helping you out with stuff, and I think that's so awesome. I'm a female woodworker, and I kind of wish I was doing this when I was growing up. So, my question is, what's that experience like having her in the shop? How does she feel? Does she want to be doing this stuff when she's older? Yeah, have a great night. Bye, guys.
Well, it's so awesome. Actually, I have three daughters, and my youngest daughter, she's the comedian that you always see.
Yeah, she's the little Spitfire from what I gather.
Yep. She's the little comedian. And then my middle daughter, she likes to come out and help spread glue and stuff like that. My older daughter does as well. And My older daughter is the one where I don't know if you've seen the video where I'm like, the firstborn daughter is always the female version of her father, and like I did a funny video where she's doing a butt smack on me, like pow pow pow, and then I do a little slow-mo zoom in on her face, like on the last hard smack that she does on my butt. But it's funny. Like I love being a girl dad, and um they all like to be in my videos. The only one that has actually said that she wants to be a woodworker is my oldest daughter,
Oh,
Finley. She's super smart. Like even when she was really quite a bit younger, like they had a handle on their um kitchenette, like toy kitchen, like break off on one of the cabinets. She came out and got some wire and like ran it through the two holes and like twisted it together on the back and fixed it herself before, and nobody ever taught her how to do that.
you taught her curiosity. That's what's
Yeah.
important. You taught she wanted to know
And
how
she's
to
just
fix
got
it.
natural ingenuity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
And she's the one that says she wants to be a woodworker.
That's
Um,
great.
Fiona, my youngest, she definitely wants to be a comedian, I think.
Oh,
What
geez.
about your son? Does your son get out there often?
Yeah, he gets out with me. We do a lot of like wood cutting and stuff together, um, things like that. But he's not huge into the woodworking stuff, but he's definitely big into the video production side of things.
Oh, cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, and I think he'll probably work for me someday, as an editor. And he actually has like a producer type mind. Like you should
That's
see
good to
some of the
have.
short films that he comes up with. They're like the camera angles that he sets up and like how he edits them. It's like,
Oh, that's
dude,
fun.
he's super good at it.
If he gets real good, send him down to Omaha with you. I could use all the help.
Yeah.
See, I I love that because you're getting your kids involved. Like they see what you're doing. It's not something where like dad has a hobby but don't like leave dad alone. He's just in his garage tinkering. Like, like it's you're bringing the kids in, you're getting them involved. It's going to sound really mean, but like boring parents make boring kids and
Yeah.
boring kids make boring
Ow.
adults.
Ow.
Like there this listen, as I'll take this back to like college and like dating, and I was meeting some of these girls and guys that were just like, you just don't have a one entertaining bone in your body. You're not into anything, you're not creative, your hobbies are Netflix and hanging out. Like the people that if you're getting your kids involved in something to the point where they're gonna be the weird ones, the ones that like have hobbies and are into interesting things and have quirks, and they're in like they won't just ask like why, they'll ask like well what how, or like how can I do this, or why is it like that, or they'll really get involved and try to figure out how things work. And that makes such interesting people and such interesting grown-ups, and that gets other people involved in it because like everyone needs a hobby and not
Yeah,
enough
for
people
sure.
have hobbies. Not enough adults
Definitely.
have hobbies, and unfortunately I think it's because they didn't have parents like you growing up.
Yeah.
That got them involved and got them entertained. And even if they don't lift a tool after the age of 15 ever in their life, at least they were exposed to it and they're intrigued in something. And like your son could, maybe he won't do anything with making of any kind, but he'll be
But
a
it
producer. He'll do
but it
videography.
leads to other
Right.
things.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
shows an
Yeah.
interest because you're doing that too. You're editing, you're doing voiceovers, all that stuff. You're exposing them to cool stuff, man. And that's amazing. I think there's no better thing to teach your kids is that like, hey, you can do whatever you want.
For sure. And
You
I
just
think
gotta
they're
go out
all
there and get it.
creative in their own way.
That's awesome. There's a
You know,
lesson for you guys. Be like Frank and do it.
do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
And
Speaking of
if
doing
you
it,
go ahead.
no, I'm like, are we doing it? Are we done doing it? How is this going?
One could say we had done it.
We had done it
Yeah,
with Frank.
we did
Yeah.
do it. That's for the top tier of Patreon. But Frank,
Only four.
thank you so much for joining us, man. We've been talking about having you on for probably 2 years, like since last year's Workbench Con.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you finally joined us. We had a good time and finally got to chat like we were supposed to at Workbench Con.
For sure.
But dude, thank you so much. Where can everyone find you? What's the best places to check you out?
So I'm on all the bigger platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Ooh.
On Instagram, I'm at the real Frank Does It. Everywhere else, it's Frank Does It. And
Because there's
then
a faker out there.
There's one fake.
there's a
Frank out
faker,
there.
and that's yeah.
And he's not even doing it.
He's not. He doesn't follow anybody. He doesn't have any followers.
He doesn't do anything.
He
And
had
he's
boring
not.
parents,
He hasn't
that's what
been
happened.
active since like 2018. So
Yeah, boring
Well, that's
parents.
some bull.
100%.
I think he just wanted to shaft me.
He's just Frank doesn't do jack.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Well, Dan, can you do it?
Well, yeah, I wanted to thank Frank as well.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's been a joy. If you want to help us out with this podcast, you can do a number of things. Number one, you could just share the show. Share it with everybody you know. Share it with your friends and your family, your coworkers, the people you meet down the street as you're walking your dog and your dogs start fighting each other and you're like, hey, get your dog on my dog, and then be like, oh, by the way, have you heard this podcast? You should go listen to it.
Really? All right, go
or
on.
or put it in your social media somewhere, your stories, whatever, what have you. Make a Craigslist ad. That's a thing people don't do anymore. That'd be cool. Anyway, yeah, share the show however you can. That's always helpful. If you want to help us out financially and get a little something back in return, you can go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast and join us over there. Become one of the Met Army. I think that's it.
And I was laughing at the Craigslist ad. I don't know why. It's just crappy ad. Like,
I mean, it's free to
check it
it's
out,
free to put a
free.
Craigslist ad out there, so I'm not like asking for a lot.
That's like when we had set up the Yelp page.
And that's still a thing,
That's still a thing.
Yeah,
I'm laughing at the dog on dog crime.
Dog on dog.
You can write us reviews on any of the platforms. Apple, like Pete brought up, we do have a Yelp page. I think we're a radio station in Omaha, Nebraska.
Any one of the places where we got 500,000 downloads. No big deal.
We brought that up last week though.
We did,
Yeah,
but I don't like the flex.
half mil, no big deal.
Nice.
Take that, Craft will never die. Sorry, too soon?
Yeah, Frank, thanks again for joining us, man. You're one of my favorite people in the whole world.
Thanks, buddy.
I think that's it.
That might be it, Dan.
Yeah. I think I'm getting pretty good at this outro stuff.
That does.
Love you long time.
Love you a long time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. You guys are
Thanks,
awesome.
man. Take
Yeah,
care.
man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.